Hey, welcome back to JB Breaks Free. I hope you're having a great day, a blessed day, and getting 1% better than yesterday and breaking free from whatever is holding you back. Today, I got out there and side hustled. I made $40 with Instacart, did 3 orders. I'm at $150 for the week. I'd love to make $50 tomorrow, maybe even a quick one on Saturday and get above $200, $220. Not bad for a side hustle. I'd recommend it. The sign-up link is down below in the description. And I plan on doing some tutorials and ride-alongs because it's one of my favorite side hustles and a big part of my life. Today, I wanted to talk about chapter time, Dave Ramsey, The Total Money Makeover. This has been one of the most influential books in my journey to break free. This is chapter 6, titled Save $1,000 Fast, Walk Before You Run. And it's the first of his baby steps. Now, with all these books, I take what I want and leave what I don't want. And that might not be how Dave says it, but I'll kind of give you my favorite passages from this chapter and kind of relate it to my own life also and what I did. And I can't wait to go through more books with you guys. Just listening to some of your reading lists, especially Money Moms, who has read like 49 books, amazing. And motivates me to keep going. But I'll get through this first chapter here. It says, save $1,000 fast. He goes, in my first book, Financial Peace, there is a chapter titled Baby Steps, the premise of which is we can do anything financially if we do it one little step at a time. I have developed the baby steps over years of counseling one-on-one and small group discussions because you can get anywhere with one step at a time. And that is where we started when we were over $100,000 in debt, probably close to $150,000. Dave Ramsey was one of the first things I stumbled upon, and one of the first things we did was get 1K quick, as fast as we could. He goes, find something to do and do that with vigor until it is complete. Then and only then do you move to the next step of the baby test. If you try to do everything at once, you will fail. And it's kind of a topic we talked about in one of the previous episodes of multitasking, and I think that hit home for a lot of people, including myself. So singular focus on this first task of getting $1,000. We walk before we run. He goes, the power of focus is what causes our baby steps to work. When you try to do everything at once, progress can be slow. When you put 3% in your 401k, $50 extra on the house payment, and $5 extra on the credit card, you dilute your efforts. Because you attack several areas at once, you don't finish anything that you start for a long time. He goes, the power of focus is that it works. You can see visible progress. And that's actually something he's going to talk about in the next chapter 2, which we've kind of talked about on this channel, is the debt snowball versus debt avalanche. You see more visible progress with the debt snowball. You take out the lowest debt first, not necessarily the highest interest rate. He goes, the power of priority also causes the baby steps to work. Each one of these steps is part of the proven plan to financial fitness I promised you. They build on one another. Therefore, if done out of order, they don't work. So I would recommend getting the first $1,000. And I think that's a great place to start. He says to have patience. Then he talks about you Inc. And I like to think of myself as you Inc., you Incorporated. You are your own business. And I think ideally you could be your own boss if you go do really great with this, but I think of yourself as you want to take care of your corporation, and that means mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, with what you eat, everything you do is part of you Inc. And I like that idea, and I also like the idea of breaking free from the rat race by saving and getting your finances in order. And for me personally, it would be maybe to be an independent contractor one day and just go full-time into the gig economy. But I'm still working up on a nest egg and even the courage to make that move. But he goes, you Inc., you first must set up a budget, a written budget every month before you get your 1K. There's a statement here by some followers of his. They go, budgeting was the best and hardest part of the whole process. We needed to make sure we had our money going towards certain debts while cutting back on wants. Yes, we did that. You see my expenses revealed now, and they were not like that when we were tremendously in debt and even had a mortgage. A lot of the coffee was gone. A lot of the eating out was gone. A lot of the cable was gone. We've since added a few things back, and we can get some guilt-free coffees now and this and that. But we did sacrifice. And this person says, our biggest sacrifice has been having to wait, having that patience. Then follows up, living debt-free has been amazing. My wife and I communicate better, and we're more loving to each other and the kids because we aren't stressed about money all the time. And I would second that emotion. I'll never forget when I first paid off my mortgage, and the next day I was just like, okay, what next? And I guess that kind of happens with a lot of things in life. You get what you want, and then you want more. But I soon realized month after month, when we had all this extra money and a lot less stress, that my wife and I were both tremendously more happier. I was more confident talking to my kids about money, more excited for their futures, less stressed in life, less stressed in work, and with much more opportunities and free time that I didn't have to worry about. So I would recommend that. Because if you worked for a company called You Inc., and your job was to manage your money, and you manage the money at You Inc. the way you manage your own money now, would you at You Inc. fire yourself? You have to tell money what to do or it leaves. And I like that idea. Tell your money what to do or it leaves. Now, we have our main expenses that we budget for. But outside of that, we don't have a home for every dollar. There's a lot of, I want to say frivolous spending, but there's spending. We track everything we spend, but we don't necessarily budget every dollar. I would recommend budgeting every dollar if you're just starting out, if you're hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, or even if you just have your mortgage left or just have your car payment left. If you have any debt at all, and certainly if you don't have $1,000 saved up, start there. Start with giving every dollar a home, which he says, give every dollar of your income a name before the month begins. And I would recommend that, and I believe we did do that earlier. Now we know what we know what our main bills are, and then we can, have things are going to come up, especially in the summer. We got trips, we got coffees, we got ice cream. I had to get a few t-shirts, and then kind of halfway through, how we doing? We still on pace to put everything into our investments and $700 into the savings. Are we on pace for $300 into the savings this month? Are we on pace for no money into our savings this month? What is our savings rate? So we kind of just feel it out how that goes kind of on a month-by-month basis. He says, if you're married, agree on the budget with your spouse. This one sentence requires a standalone book to describe, but the bottom line is this: if you aren't working together, it is almost impossible to win. And I fully agree with that. My wife and I, we're not necessarily not working together, but I was not involved at all in the process. And we had separate finances. And so I would do my little saving, not even necessarily investing, but I was kind of a saver at heart. And it is what it is. She was $30,000 in consumer debt. And I had no idea of it. And then one day, just a brief origin story, I thought about frugality as my hobby, and I wanted to finally get my stuff in order. And I always wondered why she didn't have any money left to save. And we sat down and talked, and there were tears at the table. And I remained calm, and I just went to the baby steps, and I accepted responsibility that I put it all on her. And we have since merged into a team. And then I said, let's just destroy all our debt. And then I said, let's try to save 50% of our income afterwards. And we agreed, and we've become a much closer, stronger, open unit. But I know money problems are a hard thing for families to overcome. I'm lucky we were able to overcome ours. He says, if something comes up in the middle of the month that causes the budget to need changing, call an emergency budget committee meeting. You can change the budget and what you do with the money only if you do two things. One, both spouses have to agree to the change. And two, you must still balance your budget. If you increase what you're spending on car repairs by $50, you must lower what you are spending somewhere else by $50. So your income minus your outgo still equals zero. I like that idea. Dave rants, the number one cause of divorce in America is money fights and money problems. And that's crazy. And I am stunned and grateful and thankful that I was able to remain calm when I found out that we were so much more in debt than I thought we were. And I'm grateful she was able to change her ways and not tell me to F off, I'm not saving any money, because that would have been something. I don't know what would happen there, but Money problems are crazy. I'm blessed that we made it through it. If you're not combined finances with your partner, see what's going on at least. I would recommend that. Check it out. And I do see some friends who are struggling and friends that are not, who do not combine finances. And I don't say too much, but it makes life so much easier when you're working as a unit and you don't have to worry about that bickering back and forth with what are you doing with this money? I need this money for that. You're just one single unit working together. It's a powerful machine. Because before we get to baby step 1, make sure that you're current with all your creditors. Do not be behind on payments. Because after you are current with a written, agreed on plan, have the obstacle course behind you, which we talked about in previous chapters, which you can see in a playlist, and are focused and intense, you are now ready for the right priorities. Here we go. Baby step 1, save $1,000 cash as a starter emergency fund. He says you need an emergency fund, an old-fashioned grandma's rainy day fund. Sometimes people tell me I should be more positive. Well, I am positive, he says. It is going to rain. You need a rainy day fund. Now, obviously, $1,000 is not going to catch all the big things, but it will catch the little ones until the emergency fund is fully funded. And I think he talks about 3 to 6 months of bills as a fully funded emergency fund, which might be a future step. And that's great. I did see Money Mom mention the other day that she has 1 whole year worth of bills and expenses in her savings account. That is crazy. That's amazing. I do not have that in my savings account. We might have that in investments, I might say, but we do not have it in a savings. I would love that in a savings, especially 3 to 6 months at least. Start with 3, right? Get 1% better. Start with maybe a month, 2, 3. I think Dave's thing is 3 to 6 months. 1 year is tremendous. What we use our savings account now for is like our checking account is to pay our everyday bills. What's left at the end of the month we put in savings, but then if something crazy comes up, that's what we use our savings for, like new brakes on the car. One day we're going to need the roof done probably. One day we're going to want to paint the house. 10 years from now we're going to need a new car. That's where that money's going to come from, and we're going to buy a car that we can afford and not pay for or with a credit card. We will not go into debt with a car payment. So that's the goal for us right now. Maybe we do have 3 to 6 months in investments, but not in our savings. I'd love to do that like Money Mom. He continues to say the emergency fund is not for buying things or for vacation. It is for emergencies only. No cheating. Do you know who Murphy's is? He talks about Murphy's Law. Murphy is the guy with all those negative laws, such as if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. He says most of America uses credit cards to catch all of life's emergencies. Some of these so-called emergencies are Christmas, which is not an emergency. It doesn't sneak up on you. Christmas is always in December. They don't move it. Therefore, it's not an emergency. Your car will need repairs. Your kids will outgrow their clothes. But those are not emergencies. They are items that belong in your budget. True. If you don't budget for them, they will feel like emergencies. Americans use credit cards to cover actual emergencies too. Things discussed earlier, like job layoffs, are real emergencies and are the reason for an emergency fund. A leather couch on sale is not an emergency. Because whether the emergency is real or just planning, the cycle of dependence on credit cards has to be broken. We have broken our addiction. We cut off our credit card addiction. We do have a debit card, which we pay for things now, which we don't pay for in cash, and that just comes right out of our checking. The first major baby step is to save $1,000 fast as you can. Since I hate debt so much, people often ask, why don't we start with debt? I used to do that when I first started teaching and counseling, but I discovered that people would stop the whole total money makeover because of an emergency. They feel guilty that they had to stop debt reducing to survive. Then he says, when you get the $1,000, hide it, or it will get spent. Find a safe place to park the money. He says, keep it liquid. This is a small step, so take it quickly. Don't let this small first step last for months. What if you already have more than $1,000? Wow, that's easy, wasn't it? If you already have $1,000 in anything other than a retirement plan, get it out. He goes, your emergency fund is limited to $1,000 in liquid available cash is all that is acceptable. So if you have $1,000 right now and you're trying to get out of debt, you have baby step 1 accomplished. And the last thing I have underlined here is all the money you have above and beyond the $1,000 in anything except retirement plans will be used for the next step anyway. So get ready. And I believe the next step that he talks about is going to be eliminating all debt outside of your mortgage, which is going to be chapter 7, which we will get into on the next chapter review video. I hope you found this interesting. Let me know if you have baby step 1 accomplished. If you don't, let me know if you need help figuring it out. If you need any tips, just let me know where you are on your journey. Guys, keep crushing it. Keep saving. Keep reading. Keep doing your monthly challenges. Keep breaking free from whatever is holding you back. Keep trying out side hustles. Keep selling things you don't need or getting rid of it or donating it, and break free. And I wish you all the best.